Damn. I'm pretty damn wore out.
Already?
Yeah.
That was quick.
It usually doesn't take this long. Okay. We're at 100 PSI. Okay. Now we're going to do...
Some forks take longer than others.
Yeah.
Get off my hand!
Tomatoes. All right, guys, we are back at the campsite, and we are fixing to rate out, get the scores, the official scores on the LPXX 32 factory ZTZ 140 millimeters of travel fork.
I don't have 32 factory written out, just ZTZ factory.
Ah, well, that works too.
I'm gonna, at the end of this, we're gonna do a, like we do with bikes, we're gonna do who this fork is for, or we're gonna do we're gonna do something like who it's for, or what I think about it, you know, whatever, my opinion, the big guy opinion or something, you know. Okay. So anyway, all right, so it's been a while. It's been a while since we've done a rating.
This is the budget rating.
Yeah,
under
this is a 200 and under. Yeah, 200 and under. And so obviously, as we've gone with that, since we have forks that are now well over that, we have definitely gotten more and more aiming towards the price being a factor, as far not in the scoring, but like when you score it as a fork in the price range it's in. Not so much, you don't score like you're thinking of the of one of the upper echelon forks that we have now, the ones that were a lot better, you know, the 201 to 400. You don't compare it to those, obviously, because it wouldn't be a fair fight.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is a $100 fork.
It's a $100 fork. So I mean, like you gave it ratings as a $100 fork. Okay. So sometimes people ask about that, so I wanted to put it in there. Okay. So the first category, as always, is looks plus feel. In the looks department, you gave this fork a 4.0 out of 5.
4.0 out of 5. The fork's a really good looking fork.
You really like the looks?
I really like the looks of the fork. The decals are really cool. I was shocked on the orange on the black with the black stanchions. Like, I just love that whole
I think you're kind of a sucker for that.
I am. I like orange. I like purple. No, it's a good looking fork.
You get them confused.
I get them confused. It's a good looking fork.
Okay. The feel of the fork, as far as the quality, the way things turn out of the box,
rebound,
knobbage, and whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff. You know, the way the fork feels out of the box. You gave it a 3.8 out of 5.
It was lacking a little bit. You know, the rebound knob, 21 adjustments of rebound, that felt good. But when you got to the compression knob, and it's a lockout knob is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a little
There's
crunchy.
no compression on this.
And you know, we did a little bit of research and watched some of our videos back, and a lot of the budget forks have a crunchy compression knob. It's weird. But that one, I think 9 clicks until you get to the lockout, and about 9, a little bit past area, it gets a little crunchy. So 3.7?
You give it a 3.8.
Oh, 3.8. Okay.
Yes. Now we go into the more performance of the fork. The smalls, you gave this a 4.5 out of 5. That's a really high rating.
For a $100 fork, it got a 4.5 out of 5. Guys, this fork tore it up. You got to see it on the green, the Triple C trail. It did so good. You know what I mean? The biggest, the thing I kept saying was compression. The compression just felt great. It was moving. And another thing I really liked about this fork is it seemed like it was looped up inside really nice. Because a lot of times with the chintzier forks, I mean, it's $100.
Let's not call it that. Let's call it the less expensive.
The less expensive forks. It has like a dry feel, or it constantly feels like the stanchions are almost rubbing on something. This thing here in the small department did a really good job.
You were when we were out there, you were talking about how impressed you were on the smalls.
I was super impressed. 70 PSI. I think it was about 10 clicks of rebound, 12 clicks. It was perfect.
Yeah, it liked life at 70 PSI pretty good, which that'd come in at the end.
And it liked life on the green trail.
It did, and that'd come in at the end as well. Okay, the adjustment factor, the way it responds to air pressure adjustments, the rebound, the lockout, all that stuff, it got a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. The air pressure made a big difference, and so did the rebound. I was constantly down there. I don't know if I left it in the video or not, but I was constantly down messing with the rebound, and it made a huge difference.
Well, a lot of stuff has to get cut out because these would be an hour long.
Yeah, and they're already
people
20, 30
complain.
minutes. Yeah. No, the adjustments did excellent on that fork. Even though it had a little bit of crunchiness on the compression, this fork did not advertise that it had damping. So all it was all the way open or it was locked out, and that did a good job as well.
Yeah.
With the crunch.
Yeah, and if it had some sort of damping at all, it would probably have got 4.5 or closer to 5.
And that just shows you guys prices are dropping on forks and what you get. I just said the damping part, but back in the day, maybe even a year and a half ago, you couldn't get a fork for under $150 that had a rebound. That was kind of hard to find back then.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember ordering a few forks going, oh crap, and it came in the mail and going, well, this doesn't even have a rebound on it.
Well, there was one that flat out advertised rebound that came in without one that we were a little upset about in the past. I can't remember which one that was. Okay, and then now this is going to be controversial to our followers that have been around for a while. Because you didn't take it on Cat's Meow, you didn't take it at the jump park.
Yeah.
But you did take it down a Black Diamond downhill that has a couple features that are pretty big.
Yes.
And so the Biggs soaks it up factor. Now this is where this fork really fell on its face.
It's everybody's favorite.
It got a 3.7 out of 10.
Ooh, 3.7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Guys, you got to see the performance on this thing. It just hit a damn wall and it did not want to move. It said, no thank you. The first little rock garden, I remember going over and going, okay, it's kind of acting decent. Started going to some switchbacks. I went through the Savage Rock Garden, hit some of those bigs, and this fork just fell flat in its face. That was with 5 extra PSI in it. I remember even messing with the adjustments, and it kind of changed it a little bit, and then it got right back to being locked up. So it kind of had the opposite of the suck. People always talk about forks having suck or something. It kind of felt like there was an air buildup in the lowers, and it was just unable to move. Maybe just a little bit of travel, but the damn thing felt like it was locked down.
Yeah, people are going to say what they're going to say about that too.
It is just a green trail fork, man.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We're going to get to that. Okay, the weight. Now, this was one of the, not super light, but a lighter fork than we thought it was going to be. It's 4.05, and then you take that out of the 10-point possibility, and that leaves 5.95. So that's a pretty good weight-wise. It's not bad.
No, it's super light.
Yeah,
super light.
That's like up there with 4.05. Now, I'm not comparing this fork to that one, obviously, although it's the same price category. But it's kind of like the Suntour Pixon. I think it scored a 4.05 in weight. Okay. So I mean, it weighs about that. It's not quite that level fork, obviously.
And that's either the 140. It's probably the 120 you're talking about.
No, the 140.
The 140.
Yeah, weighed 4.05.
And that's a second place fork, guys.
Yeah, so I mean, it's comparable to
under $200. We've had 15 different forks.
Well, with 15 that we scored. We've had several more that we didn't even score.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Now, it did have let's talk about the travel for a minute. It did have a penalty, and the penalty, the way we do it, it's not a massive penalty, but it definitely could adjust where it sits. And it was 5.5 millimeters under what it advertised as, and we made sure we checked it thoroughly. You guys go back to the initial impressions and see us messing with it. So at 5.5, that gives it a 0.55 deduction, which isn't huge. It's a little over half a point.
Okay.
So I can tell you this. Let's talk about the score before the penalty real quick, and then we'll talk about the score after what it actually settled on.
Okay.
The score would have been, you ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
It would have been a 25.95.
Okay, so that's right between the Himalo DH680, the downhill fork, Himalo, and that's right on top of the KRSEC 27.5.
Okay, and I don't think the penalty hurt its placing because after the penalty it scored a 25.40.
25.40, well that's not at the bottom.
No, it's not at the bottom.
25.40, that puts this fork in.
And if you include the price on it, it actually would be probably more middle of the pack. Because the price on it's so good.
That puts this fork at 13th place. 25.40?
25.40.
Okay. Well, crap.
I lost my screen.
That's right below the Himalo DH680 that scored a 28.14. We don't really have any. That's the first 25 fork that we've got. And then the KRSEC almost scored a 25 with a 24.94. So 13th place out of the 15 or out of 16 that we have now.
Yeah, so it's right. It's kind of right where it belongs, I guess you could say.
I would completely agree with that, because I remember the KRCC not being very impressive, and then the KRCC.
I always thought the KRCC was better than you thought it was.
I don't know. The KRCC sits on top of two ZTZ forks, so we finally got a win with the ZTZ making it in front of the KRCC.
There you go. Anyway, but what I want to talk about is who this fork is for. Now, this fork is obviously not for the kind of rider. And I hope they're not watching this and thinking that this is going to be a possibility for them. But it's not for the experienced rider that rides aggressively. This is for the rider that's maybe wanting to get into upgrades, wanting to lighten their bike up, that wants to ride around on the pavement, like the dad rider that rides the kids. They want to get that bike a little lighter, because you're going to save a couple pounds with this over the stock fork.
Yeah.
In most cases.
It's tapered, remember that, and it has a through axle. You guys can check out the phone links in the description below.
Getting to that. So that's one of the things you can look at as a plus or a minus. To me, it's a plus, and I'll tell you why. Because somebody that bought a bike, like say the Switchback Comp, right? And they put the adapter and they wanted a tapered fork and all that. They can get this one and get their new front wheel, you know, because you're going to need a through axle. And then they can ride it for a year or two. If they're, you know, just getting into it, pavement, green trails. It loves green trails. And then they go, okay, well, I'm ready for that next step. Well, they don't have to get the wheel. Now they can spend a little more on the fork. They done paid this off, and they already have the through axle wheel on it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it sets,
and they got the headset.
And they got the headset. So it sets them up for a bigger improvement on the next fork they get. That's it'll be a through axle most likely.
Yeah.
So that gives them, I think that lowers the cost, because if they go right into that better fork that's through axle, they're going to buy a wheel and a fork that's $250. And that's going to be a lot all at once. It's going to be a
lot of money and a headset.
Yeah.
If that's what you
this way,
tapered for.
It sets it up for the long haul and wanting to upgrade slowly and learn exactly how aggressive you're going to want to ride.
And the great thing about that, it's $100.
That's what I'm saying. You don't get hurt in this fork. If this fork lasts you a couple years at $100 and it gets you ready to ride a little like a blue trail or to get a little bit off the ground, great. And then you can go to a better fork and you already have the wheel and the headset.
If you got a kid, you know, you want to put on their bike, bam, put on your kid's bike, and then
that's true too. This would probably be fine on a kid that's not real heavy. I think anyone that weighs 150 pounds or less is probably good on this up to blue trails, probably for a little while.
For a little bit.
If they're real aggressive riders, they get a lot of air. I don't know if I would go with one of these forks.
Yeah.
But that lighter rider that's either younger or just a lighter guy that rides, you know, green trails mainly, road. I think this is a good.
I think it's
fork.
a perfect conclusion on that fork.
Yeah.
But guys, you can check out this fork and maybe some of the stuff that we've also listed. You know, if you have a 44 to 44 head tube and you're looking at possibly getting a tapered fork, or you're like, man, that sucks. I wouldn't mind getting that fork, but you
got a tapered bike like something like the aluminum column. You all right?
I'm getting bit up. But maybe you're watching this video, or maybe you shun away from tapered forks because you have a 44 to 44. Remember, we do have a video that actually shows that we can adapt.
Yeah, we have a couple episodes showing that.
Yeah, we'll also put some affiliate description below, not only for this fork, but maybe the comp, the switchback comp, right? Maybe we'll do that. We'll put this fork in there, maybe a wheel. We'll give you guys a little bit of little stuff to digest down there in the affiliate links. So check those out. You guys can also check out the Buy Us a Cup of Coffee link if you guys want to become a patron.
If you like this content, but the patron thing's a little different. It's not all bike related. A lot of it's just us or different things we're into. It's not edited. It's got a lot of foul language.
Yeah, but if that's what you guys are into,
if you're into that,
fans,
and you want to support, check it out. Or you could just buy us a cup of coffee if you'd like, or use our PayPal.
Yeah, absolutely. But guys,
you don't have to do any of that.
Wolf Nation, we appreciate you guys watching as always. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on. We will see you guys on the next episode.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.